thank you for attending our 111th annual meeting and legislative reception. This is one of the largest Day on the Hill events of any. As you can tell, the crowd, I think, Susie, we exceeded a prior number that we had of over 500 business leaders from all across the great state of Tennessee. We want to recognize and thank Tennessee Chamber of Commerce Executives, TCCE and TEDC, who we partner with on this event, which consists of local chambers and economic development professionals from all across the state. We greatly appreciate your support and the work that you do really to drive Tennessee's economy at the local level. You're on the front end of recruiting industry and businesses, and work with us at a grassroots level to make sure Tennessee has a great business climate as we engage in the legislature and with the leadership. Today's really an opportunity for the Chamber and the business community to recognize the work that is done in Tennessee through our executive leadership, Governor Bill Lee, and the Tennessee General Assembly. We truly appreciate your leadership and thank you for your vision as we partnered to make Tennessee one of the greatest states in the nation for business. We're proud of that distinction, and each and every one of you make that possible. Today would not be possible without our sponsors, so I want to take a moment and recognize each and every one of you, some of Tennessee's largest brands across the state. Jack Daniel's, presenting sponsor. Advanced Financial, Bridgestone, Charter Communications, EPB, Middle Tennessee Electric, TVA, Vanderbilt University, Arconic, AT&T, Atmos Energy, Ballad Health, Bradley LLP, Caterpillar, Chemours, CMC Steel, McKee Foods, Nissan North America, Packaging Corporation of America, Pfizer, Pinnacle Financial Partners, Toyota Motor North America, VI Media Pros, Waller, Waste Management. And I'm doing this without using my glasses that I do not have, so I'm trying to grind through it. Also, AAA, Aetna, the American Chemistry Council, Appalachian Power, Baker Donaldson, BNSF Railway, Bristol Motor Speedway and Dragway, Capital Strategy Group, Chattanooga Gas, Coca-Cola Bottling Consolidated, Corinth Bottling Works, Ford Motor Company, Hamilton Riker, Heritage Crystal Clean, Lee Company, Piedmont Natural Gas Company, Salary.com, Tennessee Broadband Association, and Tensco. Those are great brands all across the state, and we thank you very much for your partnerships. Next, I want to introduce Andrew Tabby, who's chair of the Tennessee Chamber Board of Directors, to make a few comments. Andrew currently serves as Senior Vice President for Legal, External Affairs, and Sustainability with Nissan. Nissan has been a tremendous asset not only to the Chamber, but truly the state of Tennessee, and I believe being the first automotive OEM here that landed back in the 1980s. Andrew, thank you for your service. We look forward to your leadership as board of the Chamber as we will work to partner to enhance our business climate and the organization.
Okay, thank you, Bradley. Appreciate those remarks, and I want to echo, first of all, Bradley's appreciation for those of you in this room and the organizations that you represent. First, I'd like to start with Bradley and the entire Tennessee Chamber staff, not only for all the work that you do on a day-to-day basis to advocate for us and to present a very positive business climate, but for organizing this great event and this great week. So thank you to the Chamber and the Chamber staff. Also want to recognize and thank all of the state and local chambers and all the representatives here today from those chambers. Obviously, again, all the things that are going on from east to west in the state on a day-to-day basis, advancing the interests of your businesses and also your employees and your communities. Thank you to all of the chamber staffs. And lastly, but certainly not least, all of the state and local economic development officials that are here today, thank you for your time, and more importantly, thank you for your partnership with all of us in doing what needs to happen to drive this state forward. And so it's great to be able to be here with such qualified and helpful team members. And as Bradley mentioned, he said Tennessee is one of the best states to do business, and I would actually go a little bit further and say Tennessee is the best state to do business. And as he mentioned, I'm with Nissan, and Nissan's a testament to that. 2023 is a big year for Nissan. It represents the 40th year, our 40th anniversary of coming to Tennessee. It was then Governor Alexander who went to Japan and convinced a number of Japanese executives to put up manufacturing facilities on the other side of the world in a place they'd never heard about. And since that time, all of Nissan's headquarters in the Americas have moved here to Tennessee. We have the largest auto manufacturing facility in the Americas right here in Tennessee. And we have 2 powertrain facilities in Deckard, okay? And as our industry moves forward and we transform, we are really excited and hopeful that we'll be able to announce other extensions or additions to our investments. And it's not just Nissan. Since Nissan's move to Tennessee, the state has welcomed 3 other major manufacturers, massive investments, massive job growth. And the state of Tennessee is home to hundreds of suppliers that work with all of us OEMs. And again, more massive investment and massive job creation. So for our industry, Tennessee has been a massive success story. And we're not the only industry enjoying success, right? We have a lot of businesses, a lot of industries, despite the current challenges that we face from an economic standpoint in the United States and globally. We have a lot of companies, a lot of businesses, a lot of industries that are thriving. So despite inflationary pressures, we have supply chain constraints, we have geopolitical issues, and of course, dealing with everything that the pandemic brought us, we're still thriving and we're still succeeding. And that is a testament to our state officials, and also to the Tennessee Chamber. I think they've been an integral part of the success of all of our industries and businesses. And so, as Bradley mentioned, as leadership of the Chamber, it is our priority to continue to work with government leaders and all of you to develop solutions to these challenges and to really balance the needs of the state, our businesses, and our employees and communities in doing so. And as Bradley mentioned, we are very fortunate to be in a state where we have leaders who want to hear from us. They value our input. They want to work with us on all of these things to move the state forward and to continue to develop high-quality, sustainable jobs for our citizens. And there is no truer example of this than our Governor, Bill Lee. He and his team have been committed, time and time again, to finding innovative ways to make Tennessee a great place to live and work. And so with that, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who is a key driver of the governor's agenda in making Tennessee an economic powerhouse. Commissioner Stuart McWhorter has been a longtime business leader in the state of Tennessee. He joined Governor Lee's administration in 2019 as Commissioner for the Department of Finance and Administration. And he co-chaired the governor's Healthcare Modernization Task Force and was the state's top official in leading the COVID-19 pandemic response. After going back to the private sector, the commissioner came back to the Lee administration, this time in the capacity in which he sits here today as commissioner and head of ECD. Before his public service, Commissioner McWhorter spent 25 years as chair of a financial services firm, focused on early-stage investing, and was chief executive officer of the Nashville Entrepreneur Center, which is an innovation hub in Nashville that helps entrepreneurs create, launch, and grow sustainable businesses. So Commissioner McWhorter, his work in government and in the private sector, he has supported the growth of businesses, countless number of businesses and industries. He's been involved in the creation of untold thousands of jobs and really the success of so many of our communities. So with that, I'd like a warm welcome for Commissioner Stuart McWhorter.
Thank you, Andrew. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today, and certainly an honor to introduce our guest speaker today. Just wanted to, really just echo a lot of what Andrew said, and it is such an honor to serve the state of Tennessee and to sort of be the front face of the state and be the sales arm of the state. It's a strong brand. as you know, but certainly would not be a strong brand without all the work that you all do, helping us do our job with the department. You know, I got a question the other day about, from the media about, you know, automotive industry and why is, you know, Tennessee doing the things it's doing and making these investments and committing to the industry. And I said, because of Lamar Alexander, of course. You know, going over to Japan and showing the map of Tennessee 40 years ago, and we get to enjoy some of the fruit of those investments and relationships that were made many, many years ago. The governor has just completed first term, and it was a very successful first term. We, as a department, landed 440 projects during the first term, over 80,000 net new jobs from those projects, and just over $30 billion in CapEx and capital investment of those 440 projects. That's a significant accomplishment. During the midst of, as you all know well, a pandemic that pretty much halted things for quite some time. And I would say, because I was in the middle of it with the governor, to try to navigate that, particularly when it came on, and what to do and how to handle it in a lot of ways, of course, but certainly from an economic perspective. And the decisions that our governor made with respect to essential businesses and what needed to stay open, what needed to continue to produce products and services and keep paying jobs in the face of a lot of criticism about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's evident that those decisions were right. Tennessee has come out of this pandemic better than almost any other state in the country as a result of that. And certainly it's an honor to come back and serve the governor in this role. We have a governor that understands business. He's first and foremost a business person and understands what it takes to recruit businesses, to give resources to businesses to expand and to call Tennessee home. We've got a great advocate on our side, as you all know. I certainly do, and our department does as well. So we're certainly honored to do that. So with that, it is my honor to introduce my friend and Tennessee's 50th Governor, Bill Lee.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Stuart. Commissioner and I have known each other for an awful long time. I don't know, 25 years or so. And I'm really, really grateful that he has chosen to be on our team in a number of ways over the years. And he's doing a remarkable job. He's right. We have a really good brand in this state. And the brand is made up of you. You know, as a guy who ran a company for 25 years, worked there for 35 years, and then came into this job, like, I know that the businesses in this state and in this community are the ones that are creating opportunity for Tennesseans. And we talk a lot about statistics and numbers and where we are as a state. You know, we're the lowest tax per capita state in America, the lowest debt per capita state in America, the fastest growing economy in America. We have a lot of things that are happening in our state right now. One of the fastest growing states in the country, companies coming here from all over the country. But the reason, we can talk about all those statistics and all those numbers, but at the end of the day, for somebody in my position, what that means is an opportunity for a Tennessean to have access to a better way of life for their family. When we can create an environment for people in this state to have access to a better way of life for their family, then we have done a powerful thing. That's an attractive environment that people across America are seeing, and they're responding to that. And you are the ones that are creating that environment. And you know, businesses do that. They create that opportunity for Tennessee, and so I want to say thank you. There's also members of the General Assembly in here, and I don't know who they all are. I'm not going to call out each one of them, but right now, the partnership that happens between the governor's office and the General Assembly is incredibly important. You know, we have the responsibility of putting forth a budget. The General Assembly approves that budget and looks at it with eyes to make certain that we're being good stewards of taxpayer dollars. And I just want to commend, it's an honor to work alongside the men and women that are citizen legislators and really put a lot of their energy, their time, their life into serving the people that they represent, their constituents from their district. And so to the members of the General Assembly that are in the audience, thank you. Thank you very much for the work that you do. I could say a lot about the spot that we're in as a state, frankly, the spot that you have helped put us in as a state. But I'll talk a little bit more about what that means to me going forward. I said a few weeks ago in inauguration, you know, halfway through an administration is a really good, it's a good point to reflect on the past, but it's a better opportunity to think about where you're going to go with the future. I think we have an obligation, and I certainly feel the obligation and the responsibility to take steps that will prepare our state for not only the next 4 years, but for the next 24 years, to think about the future of our state and how we prepare for that. So I'll just mention a couple things that, and you've heard about these things, but I want to mention them because as business leaders, your voice is very powerful. It has it has a very strong effect on the community around you. And the things that, and so often, and I knew this from being in business myself, oftentimes we don't get as engaged as we should in advocating for things that will help our businesses and help our communities and help the citizens of our state. Kudos to you for being here, for being a part of this process, for recognizing that advocating on behalf of business to the legislature is advocating on behalf of Tennesseans. And so I thank you for that. So a couple things that are really, really important to me that you can help us with. One of them, as you know, is we've rolled out something called the Transportation Modernization Act. We have an obligation to provide an infrastructure as one of the fastest growing states in America. We have an obligation to invest in that. And you've seen that in broadband and water and sewer. But in particular, this piece of legislation focuses on bridges and roads. And we're way behind. $26 billion worth of projects that need to be done in our state. We pay as you go in Tennessee. There are only 6 states in America that don't have any debt associated with their roads, and we are one of them. And we shouldn't change that, in my view. So we shouldn't go into debt to solve our our transportation problem. And we shouldn't raise taxes on the people to do that. We're also the lowest tax per capita state in America, and we ought to stay in that position. So if you're not going to raise debt, you're not going to raise taxes, then you have to create a new funding stream and include some new strategies for how you build roads. That's what the Transportation Modernization Act is. It provides for public-private partnerships that will engage the private sector in partnership with state government to build roads. It allows for choice lanes in urban centers that create a funding stream for building roads that will allow us to build roads in rural communities that will not be subject to the choice lanes, but will be beneficiaries of that. We don't want the rural communities to pay the price for our need to invest in urban centers that are rapidly growing across this state. It's a very complex and very challenging problem, but we have what we believe is a very powerful solution to that. And I encourage you to weigh in on that, to look deeply into it, to understand that as business people, and I approached this thing with Commissioner Ely, who has a vast transportation background and is now the Commissioner of Department of Transportation. We approached it together to say, let's look at the best solution, pragmatic, thoughtful, business-focused, taxpayer-focused solution that does not put the burden on the people, but that allows the opportunity for us to expand the infrastructure, especially that transportation infrastructure. So take a look at that. It's the biggest thing I got going this year. Can you tell? And I'm very, and you know why? Because it's something that 20 years from now, we're going to look back and go, gosh, aren't we glad we did that? Because where our state is going, we desperately need it. You know, I'm really focused on workforce development. I've also said, you all know this. If anybody knows this fact, it's you. The state with the workers will win every time. The company with the workers will beat their competition every time. But the ability to get those workers is incredibly difficult in this environment all across the country. And we know that, so we developed a plan to, at the outset to increase our delivery of skilled workers by 10,000 a year. I am a strong believer not only in traditional forms of workforce development, but in the underfunded and underutilized strategy of vocational and technical and agricultural education. You've heard me talking about that for the last 4 years and investing in it as well. So this year we have put $1 billion in our budget to expand colleges of technology across our state. That's a major historic investment to deliver 10,000 new workers a year that have the skills that you need in your businesses to expand and grow and develop more opportunities for more people. That's just one piece of the investment in workforce that we are proposing, but it's a major section of our legislative agenda and our budget agenda this year. We're also, of course, investing in education, as we should be. More investments in our public education system after we rewrote the funding formula last year, which was it was needed. It was 30 years old. It was important that we do that. It's important that we fund those public schools. We're also expanding the choices that parents have across this state. So education, K-12 education, is something we'll never stop investing in because of the importance that is to our state in keeping us as a leader going forward. We're also, when you talk about infrastructure, I'll point about a couple more things. We're also investing in an environment that will allow us to be a leader in this country in the future of America's industry, energy industry. So we already are a leader in many ways in this country. There's not a conversation in America about the future of America's energy policy that doesn't include nuclear. And there isn't a state in America that has more assets prepared to make that state the leader in nuclear energy than Tennessee. You all know what those assets are. We have the only approved site. We have TVA and its infrastructure. We have Oak Ridge and the legacy and the ongoing commitment they have to developing energy of the future. We have the opportunity to lead this country in energy development, and I would like for us to be that state. So we've set aside a $50 million fund to create an environment for all things nuclear, frankly, for companies that are associated with that ecosystem and for strategies to develop that in a greater way across our state. So that's an important piece that we're going to be talking a lot about, and that matters to you because a clean, cost-effective strategy for energy matters not only for America, but it matters to the states. And we've seen states that have reliable grids and those that do not. And we need to have that power grid if we're going to continue to expand our state going forward and be a leader in the country. We also have a responsibility through all of this to make certain that we're doing everything, economic development, the advancement of energy, the growth of our highways and our infrastructure, and maintain a commitment to our environment and to the conservation of our natural resources that have made this state, those things that make this state the most beautiful place in the world. If it's going to remain that way, then we have to have a dedicated commitment to making certain it does. We've introduced the Brownfields Revitalization Act to clean up all the brownfields across this state that are currently listed. We are making a significant and major investment in state parks and the expansion of natural areas across our state. We are developing a strategy for conservation and the environment that is, and the reason I mention that is on the heels of my conversation about nuclear energy. Those go hand in hand. And we can develop the infrastructure we need in this state, be the leading state in the country in that way, and protect the things that make our state so remarkably beautiful at the same time. We should be committed to do so. I can stand up here and just go on and on. I'm very passionate about the work that we do. It's when you enter into your second term, you have this true realization suddenly that the clock is ticking and you don't have much time. And there is much to do. And we have, there are generations beyond us that will be grateful if we do it. I tell people all the time, I was talking to a group of highway patrolmen this morning that spoke at one of their gatherings. And actually, I'll tell my team this all the time. There are 7 million people out there who are hoping that we take this seriously and that we jump headlong into the work that we do on their behalf. There are 7 million people in Tennessee that are hoping that we will create that environment or create that tax situation for them, or create that opportunity, or create that educational availability for their child. Many of those 7 million people don't have much capacity to do that in a meaningful way. You do, as business leaders and as those who are creating those jobs and creating those opportunities and engaging with your state government and advocating for the things that need to be happening in your community. You have the ability to do that, and there are 7 million people that are hoping we do. The things that I only have four more short years to stay focused on those things that are not going to be the political noise on all around on the perimeter of what we do, but stay focused on the things that are going to impact Tennesseans, the people that we are here to serve, and that you do so much to serve as well. So it's the highest honor I have to serve as governor. I'm excited about our agenda for this year. Help us get it done. Give us your input on what more we need to be doing. We don't have much time, but we got to get it done. So thank you very much for having me. Thank you for what you do.
I think you'll see Lindsay Frilling next on your program. You will recognize quickly, I'm not her. Lindsay had real work to do today. So I'm Marshall Ramsey, Vice President this year of TEDC. TEDC is an organization that's had a long-time partnership with the State of Tennessee Chamber, and our organization works with the practitioners like myself that work with many of your companies here represented today. We work on education programs, partnerships with some of our other sponsoring organizations, and what we do is learn about a lot of what the governor talked about. We all know what's going on in the world with workforce development, and I think to have a governor that supports that is really, really impressive. It sets our state ahead. I'll be quick, but I want to do one recognition here today. If you see these green cards, who has green cards on their table? So this is really important. You can't leave the room till you do this. And if you're like me and you had a flip phone until last year, it's going to be tough for you. Some of these people that I worked with at ECD know that was true. So what I'm going to do first is recognize 5 individuals that have won Philtronic Memorial Scholarships for the Tennessee Basic Economic Development course. That course is in partnership with University of Tennessee Center for Industrial Services, and it trains economic development practitioners like myself. So it's a great course, and we've got a few of these people in attendance, so those in attendance, please stand up as I call your name. Dylan Hill, Director of Community Development and Tourism with the City of Bolivar. Hope Vargas, Executive Director, Jackson County Chamber of Commerce. And then we have a few not in attendance. Houston Hamblin, COO of Lewis County Government. Marcus Heaston, Workforce Development Coordinator with Tipton County Schools. Christy Kelly, County Commissioner of Meigs County Government. So we thank these people for their participation in that program and for furthering their education. So now what to do with these cards? Everybody knows about QR codes, right? You got to scan them to get through Chick-fil-A and get your app. So scan those cards until a table gets $100 a table, we can't leave. Biggest table winner, I'll buy a bottle of Jack Daniels. So if you can get 1,000 a table, I'll buy everybody a bottle of Jack Daniels at the table. Thank you all. Next, I'd like to introduce Vanessa Bennett, Executive Director and Operations Talent Development of Kingsport Chamber and current TCCE President.
Thank you. I don't have any cards to scan, but I want to tell you a little bit about TCCE. This was organized to enhance the professional growth of chamber executives, volunteers, and staff across our great state. So it's a privilege to serve as president, but what I'm most thankful for is the things that I get to learn from these amazing people. So chamber people are usually behind the scenes. They're the one that's making things happen, so not today. If you represent a chamber or an association, please stand. These are my people, and I thank you. I'd now like to introduce our next speaker. Sherry Ann Kelly is the president and CEO of ACCE, which is the Association of the Chamber of Commerce Executives. She's representing more than 10,000 industry professionals. ACCE serves the community in professional development, innovative problem solving, best practices, and industry leadership. Her bio is on their website. You can read more about it. But I enjoyed talking with her at lunch today because she talked about what an amazing profession Chamber World is. Please welcome Sherry Ann.
Thank you, Vanessa. Good afternoon, everyone. Usually with chamber crowds, you get a bigger response than that, so I'll do one more time. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be in a room full of such exceptional leaders. We have business executives, economic developers, elected officials, chamber professionals. Everything that you do really elevates our communities and our regions and empowers them to do incredible things. My organization, ACCE, we represent chambers and economic development organizations. We support them in their business efforts, but more importantly, we support these organizations with community impact efforts, whether it's workforce and talent, economic growth, education, or community development. And this sort of community impact work that we're doing, that's really the collective power of everybody here in this room. We have the ability to affect the economic prosperity of all of our regions, as well as the individuals that are in our communities. This is a particularly critical time for the business community. I don't know if you've seen the latest data from the Edelman Trust Barometer, but this is a public opinion poll. It's been put out every year for the last 2 decades, and it looks at trust in major institutions. What we found from this year's findings is it's a crucial time for everybody who's in this room right now. So this first data point looks at trust in major institutions. So it's government, business, media, and nonprofits. And government has seen some decline in trust over the last few years, but business is by far the most trusted institution. In fact, in the United States, business had the highest jump in trust over last year. We increased by 6 points in our trust factor. Now, the second data point Yes, technology worked for me today. This shows that business's power is even more amplified because not only is business seen as the most trusted institution, it's also seen as the most competent and the most ethical. So not only does the public really trust us to take on big initiatives, but they know that we will do it the right way. Now, this third data point is a really interesting one. They asked the public, if government and business work solo, are they more effective? And what they found was that citizens believe we're 4 times more likely to have optimal results if we're working in tandem, if business and government are working together. So what this means is if we have existing public-private partnerships that are successful, we should be highlighting and amplifying those partnerships and collaborations. And if there are places where those partnerships are currently lagging, well, now is really the time for us to take advantage of this. Because the public, the folks who are voting in our elected officials, the consumers within our businesses, and the stakeholders who we serve, that public is really expecting us to work together, and they're also expecting that we're going to have exceptional results when we do. I think we can also really strengthen our communities by serving as a unifying force, particularly right now when so many in our regions are feeling divided and polarized. We have the chance to do something really incredible. I look forward to seeing the collective impact that we can all have when we work together. If I or ACCE can be of assistance to you in any way, we have thousands of individuals and organizations all over the country who are already taking advantage of this really unique opportunity. So I hope that you'll be able to find some partners in this room so that you can work together, take advantage of the momentum that we have. I'm so grateful and I appreciate the opportunity to be here with all of you, but I also just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything that you're doing, for the impact that you have, and I know that there's so much more opportunity for us in the future. So hopefully you'll be able to take some of this information back, take advantage of it, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sherry Ann. Just 3 quick things. At 5 o'clock, we'll be back in this room. It'll be the legislative reception. So at 5 o'clock, we'll be back here. We'd love for you to join us for the afternoon sessions. The chamber has sessions in the Nashville room. It's 1 floor down in the back beyond the restaurant. It's a little awkward to get back there, but it's a great room. That starts immediately at 1:30 in the Nashville room. But the Chamber of Commerce executives, TCCE, will meet across the sidewalk in the Phillips building, and then there's signs to weave us back where we were last year for TCCE Winter Conference. That starts at 1:30. Thank you again to all our sponsors. Tomorrow, y'all won't get an email from me saying who's going to be sitting at your table anymore, so it's all over. We appreciate you so much. Thanks a lot.